Hi, I'm Skip Johnson, Associate Pastor at Canyon United Methodist Church. Today I'm on the prayer trail that's back behind the angel house of our church. It's a nice place to come and think and to meditate a bit for a few minutes. I wanted to talk a little bit more this morning about resilience. Resilience being our capacity for adapting in the face of adversity. It's that our ability to not be overwhelmed and frozen by circumstance, but instead to be able to be proactive and to bring about a thoughtful negotiation through difficulty. The truth is that our brains, we can't escape this, our brains are wired to react to a perceived threat by fight, by flight, by freeze. The signals go into our brain, and our brain is trying to, hey, I'm going to get you out of this jam, so here's what we're going to do. We're either going to go to war, we're either going to run away and escape as fast as we can, or we're just going to slow everything down and just freeze and not move at all and hope that the danger passes. But none of those work well. They simply kind of close us down, and we turn the world into a place that's black and white in terms of making our decisions. But as we learn through our faith and through experience, these are not always the best behaviors. Sometimes it's better to think and then to carefully pause before we decide how we want to respond. There are lots of studies about resilience. I referred to some on some other these kind of talks. But resilience is something we can develop in ourselves so that we're not victims to crisis in our lives. The reality is that crises are going to come. There's no avoiding them. It's simply part of life. It's going to bring these times. What becomes important is how we choose to respond when they come. There are a number of studies I like about resilience, but one that I was reading this past week emphasizes 5 things that we need to bring to crises to move through in a resilient way. The first one is we need to have a sense of humor. As I read that, it reminded me of the old Laurel and Hardy black and whites from the 1930s when something would happen to the two of them and Oliver Hardy would turn to his friend Stan Laurel and go, "Well, here's another fine mess you've got us into." And then they would move and start shaking their heads and doing the methodical step by step to move through it and to get past. We all need a sense of humor. All of our situations are different, but there are situations that happen in the midst that we realize this is really kind of funny. Humor allows us to step back and above the situation and perhaps to gain a perspective that otherwise we couldn't have had, and then to move beyond. Another factor for resilience that's significant, that's important to have, is a sense of community and connection. To have a sense that you are connected to people beyond yourself. You're part of a group, beyond just your family. Certainly that's something that happens in a church, but a community of folk that are around you, support you, and value you for who you are. A third factor to have with resilience is a sense of empowerment. And by that I mean a sense that you can make a difference in the world. You're not simply a victim, but you can impact other things that are happening around you. You can make a difference in someone else's life. You can make a difference perhaps in your own circumstances and go forward. You can be of assistance to people that need help, but you are empowered and can make a difference. The fourth is a sense of curiosity and wonder about the world beyond yourself. You have that capacity to be amazed and to be able to engage your imagination in the world through interactions, through learnings, through experience. And so you can now imagine possibilities beyond today. The fifth, you may have a sense of where this is moving, is you need to have for resilience a sense of meaning. You can take your life can fit it into a larger framework of significance, a larger story. You're part of something much greater. For Christians, this involves a foundation of faith that can grow and can change and be challenged, but it's also a faith that gives you a foundation of a secure place on which you can stand. If you find that these factors of resilience aren't in your life, well, I invite you to learn them, to gain them, to bring yourself to a place where you can have these as part of who you are. And of course, this is somewhat the advertisement. I invite you to come to join us at Canyon United Methodist Church as we seek to provide a foundation of faith for which we can all go forward. Thank you.